This is the Parker & Sons Weather Center. For all your AC, plumbing, and electric needs, call Parker.
All day sunshine. We'll see 102 degrees this afternoon. Overnight, fair skies and 79. With the Fox 10 weather experts, I'm Corey McCloskey.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's. Try Wendy's new homestyle French toast sticks today. Wendy's new homestyle French toast sticks are so good, some are saying they're better than their mom's French toast. Perfectly crispy on the outside, perfectly fluffy on the inside, perfectly perfect in every way. Try Wendy's new homestyle French toast sticks today and see if they're better than your mom's.
Broadcasting from the Superbook.com studio. Superbook Sports, now live. This is KGME Phoenix, KESC HD2 Phoenix, an iHeart radio station. And here's what you need to know.
Bills stellar safety Micah Hyde is done for the season with a neck injury, that according to his agent, while the Buccaneers are activating their new acquisition wide receiver Cole Beasley to the game day roster. The Pelicans rewarding CJ McCollum with a reported 2-year $6.
I got you.
Hey, they're
cool. Let's go.
Happy Saturday. Contract through the 2025
Hello. Happy Saturday.
Season with 4
Yo,
years
gross.
and
We did picks on Thursday, and Richie was the board op. Richie actually made a good pick. He picked Detroit plus 6.
Roger Maris's record of 61.
I don't know what to think, man.
I like that actually. After Kirk Cousins last week,
strikeout, the Red Sox.
And Dan Campbell.
I've been a Lions
3-2.
I grew up in Detroit. I've watched this
inning.
before,
As far as some college football notes to get
not
to,
that it doesn't make it hard knocks. I'm not saying it's a bad pick. I'm saying that I've been burned. I've been hurt too many times.
2 carries,
I'm
77 yards,
fan.
and 2 scores for the Bulldogs.
This is the My Guy Referrals Weather Center. Visit myguy.com for 5-star local referrals. Make My Guy your guy.
All day sunshine. We'll see 102
At least you guys had the bad boys, though.
Overnight, fair skies and
Had the
79.
Red Wings.
With the Fox 10 weather experts, I'm Corey
Got a World
McCloskey.
Series.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's.
Time for Arizona's only local sports gambling radio show. Take the Points. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Your home for uncensored sports betting opinions, analysis, and advice. The guys have you covered for all the games. Now, take the Points on Fox Sports 910 and the iHeart Radio app.
Welcome in. Good Saturday morning to you. Take the Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. I'm Mike Gross alongside Jackson Groff and Mike Bauer, taking up to 1 o'clock this afternoon on the fine broadcast. So glad you could spend part of your Saturday with us. If you're out and about and you just heard Corey McCloskey say it's going to be 102. It's almost October. Whew. Come on by the CAZ Sports Bar. It's nice and cool in here. Jackson and I just enjoyed a breakfast sandwich and cool off, watch some games, maybe put a buck or two down on a game that catches your eye. Come hang out with us.
Yeah, it's always good to see a good crowd here on a Saturday, watching some college football, placing some bets at the new sports book here as well. You heard some chants from Michigan. I don't know if they were Michigan fans, but they were kind of supporting him because maybe they bet on Michigan. But Michigan currently up 4. And
here's the thing. You are about to learn, my young friend, a radio lesson about working with me. If Michigan is on the TV and it's a tight game, I'm useless.
You're cranky.
A couple years ago, I was doing a show with Jeff Dean. Big Jeff and I were doing a show. We were at a local sports bar, and it was a game that Michigan struggled against the Indiana Hoosiers. I can't tell you what year it was. I can't tell you exactly what sports bar we were in. But Michigan struggled against Indiana, and we're trying to carry on a radio show. And he's like, dude, are you even listening to me right now? I'm like, honestly, I'm not. I honestly am not listening to you. So I will put it out, and I think they've changed the TVs directly. Nope, there it is. So I will change my line of sight and not look, and I'll beg you not to make any, oh, my God, or whatever related to the Michigan game until actually we're done or they're done and whatever. But it's not good for the Wolverines right now. But that's what you get, Jackson. That's what you get for playing a garbage preseason schedule.
Yeah.
You play Hawaii, you play Colorado State, and you play UConn. No disrespect to any of those fine institutions of higher learning. They are awful football programs this year. I don't know what they were thinking. They got 3 home games. That means they made more money than the GDP of many small countries in Ann Arbor the last 3 Saturdays. But it's not helping their football team today, and that's all we'll say as we move along. Coming up on the show. Oh, wait, that's where you do this.
Oh, yeah, it's the opening line.
Yes, it is.
First off, we got to shout out Albert Pujols. Even if you're not a baseball fan, everyone knows the name Albert Pujols. He hits his .699, 700th career home run in the same game against the Dodgers. Now, something crazy that I saw on Twitter last night. From the MLB Network, someone predicted in April that he was going to hit his 700th home run in September against the Dodgers.
And there you go.
That's why sports journalism and sports are amazing.
I am not a Dodgers fan, and look, it's not that I'm not an Albert Pujols fan. It's just
I'm not a baseball guy either.
It's not anybody, but it was so cool last night when you watch even the pregame where they recognized him and gave him a mic, and he spoke to the crowd there in Los Angeles and acknowledged the Dodgers and the organization and the players. It was such a cool setting, and look, you're not a baseball fan, and that's a problem for baseball, right?
Yeah.
And baseball needs more guys like you to be fans, and these are the types of things I think that can get people's attention, right? This traditional or the purists are killing the game, and I saw this on Twitter last night too. Like, why are we doing this? Why are we giving him a microphone? Because it's cool, because ESPN plays it, because people will talk about it after the fact.
Yeah, 100%. Shout out to Albert Pujols. Probably not watching this or listening, but hey, shout out to you. Another top story, Taylor Swift turns down Super Bowl show offer. She has been denying rumors that she's performing in this year's Super Bowl halftime show, and she is denying it, which for me personally, I'm glad.
Here's the thing. Like,
I'm glad.
The Super Bowl show has become something that can never – it's just become bigger than it should be, right? And whoever ends up performing – and let's be honest, whoever pays for the right to perform at halftime, because that's how it works.
Yeah.
There's going to be a portion of the crowd that's disappointed. It doesn't matter. Go back. Tell me the last time you had universal love for the halftime guest, particularly before they actually put on the show. It never happens. You got the Metallica crowd saying, oh, Metallica should pay their money to get – and it's country star, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you're never going to make anybody happy. And the other thing, too, like, typically the people that are complaining, you're not the audience they're after anyways, right? So
yeah. Personally, I thought last year they did it very well, having multiple artists.
I thought so too.
Old artists, maybe some newer artists that gelled well together, and they played different songs and stuff like that. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it personally. I like the older rap with Dr. Dre, Eminem was there, Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, all of that. So hopefully they bring something like that as well. But as we move on to the next story, we talked about this yesterday on Rock and Manooch. The whole Ime Udoka, I think is how you say his name. The head coach of the Celtics, 1 year suspension after allegedly having an affair with a female staff member. As a result, he's immediately suspended. Now, for people that don't realize, he was in a 10-year relationship, 10-year engagement with Nia Long, actress. Now, hear me out here. They were together for 10 years. She's an actress. The last movie that she was in 2020, the title was called Fatal Affair. You can't make this up, people. You cannot make this up.
Well, look, you look at everything that went down over an extended period of time with the Phoenix Suns. And I'm not saying this is an overreaction. The Celtics are going to run their organization the way they did it. But you heard the ownership, you heard the leadership of that organization come on. And, they were saying things that never would have been said at the Phoenix Suns. Whether you agree with this suspension or not, their rationale for doing it and the protection of all the employees of the Celtics organization, it's let's put it this way. It's an exact opposite of what was going on in Phoenix for so many years. And I'm not suggesting that anybody with the Suns had an affair with anybody. What I'm saying is workplace culture.
Yeah.
Because it is a workplace. When you've got a team of basketball players and a coach, like that, it's a game, it's a sport, I understand that. But behind it, there's a huge workplace. You have accounting, ticketing, purchasing, everything that goes with that. And it's a workplace. You have to have a safe working environment. And that was the point that I think their ownership was making when they had that press conference.
Yeah, this isn't a good look for him, as him and his, I don't know, still fiance. We have not heard anything about that yet. But has a 10-year-old son. She spoke yesterday and said, I'm a mother. I'd appreciate everyone to leave me alone, respect my privacy. I'm going to take care of my children during this time.
Good for her.
I mean, good for her as well. But, not a good look. But if you're Robert Sarver and you hear this news break out, you're kind of smiling from ear to ear because now the attention from you is kind of off.
Well, it is and it isn't. If you're Robert Sarver, you're thinking to yourself, maybe I should have handled things differently on our end. And I wouldn't have found myself in this this just disaster that we're in right now.
Speaking of Robert Sarver.
Yes, sir.
We are going to talk odds for the next Phoenix Suns owner. I got them right up here thanks to Bovada.com. The first and who they have as the best odds for the Phoenix Suns' next owner is Bob Iger, who was the Bob Iger.
Yeah.
Sorry. For the former Disney CEO. And then second place at plus 300 is Jeff Bezos. One that surprised me was plus 1,600 Michael Bidwell.
Bill Simmons came on the podcast and said, it depends how this sale goes down. But the valuation of the Suns is way off that you're hearing. Between $1 and $2 billion. You
think it's higher?
He thinks it's much higher. He suggested on his podcast that it could go as high as $5 billion. And the way he did that is Robert Sarver controls somewhere between 30 and 35% of this team. He's the controlling owner, the managing partner. And the question is, does he sell the whole organization or does he just sell his share? And if he sells his share for $1 billion or $1.5 billion, then do the math. If that's 35% of the value, then you can see where Bill Simmons come up. So we'll have to see what the number is, and then you can extrapolate it out. But I don't think you and I and Bauer, we have enough to put our names in the hat. For this.
Unfortunately not. I could give them my breakfast sandwich if they wanted to.
There you go.
But, it'll be interesting. You said 33%. Where's that other 67%?
Minority owners.
Okay.
He is the controlling owner, but he's got partners, and, it's a lot of people use this sort of thing as an investment, apparently. And whatever it is, it's paid off. If you look at what Sarver bought it for and what he's getting ready to sell it for, there was a return on his investment, which was very handsome indeed. So this will be interesting to watch it all play out as the sale progresses and the rumors and the odds take shape.
If you're a betting guy yourself, who are you going with?
Well, I think the question to me is he selling his share or is he selling the entire team? Because apparently he has the ability to call for that as well. And if you're talking about, and again, rarefied air that you and I can't understand, but if you're talking about somebody that needs to come up with $1 billion, $1.5 billion, that's one thing. But if you're talking about $4 to $5 billion for the whole shooting match, that really pares that list down, way down. And so I think that's the question that needs to be asked. Just hopefully somebody that cares for the organization, right? I think that's the thing, because it's, we're going to talk a lot about ASU, and the teams are owned obviously by individuals, but these are institutions in the city in which they operate. And the Phoenix Suns have been here longer than anybody, except, ASU, of course, but in professional sports. They've been here longer than anybody, and to see what's happening has got to be disheartening to people that have been in this town for a long time. It just has to be. And, we'll see how that goes. Real quickly, let's do the guests for today. And set
perfect timing. Mr. Bauer is here.
Hi, guys.
Michael Jack Bauer, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Coming up on the show today, we got an action-packed show. We'll go in reverse order. Marco D'Angelo, we'll bring him on with oven mitts today, fellas. He was on fire last week, and I cashed on it. The over, we'll talk about that. I was sitting there with bated breath watching that game end. But Marco was on fire last week, and we'll get him back and have him pick a couple games. That's coming up at 12:30. Marco D'Angelo from WagerTalk.com. Follow him on Twitter at Marco in Vegas. And then you, Mr. Bauer, we have this running thing on text, like we talk about guests. And I said, he'd be a good guest. And Bauer's like, no, he'd be a great guest.
The timing.
And the timing is perfect.
I threw some ideas out, and you're like, yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. And I was like, I don't want to book a nice guest. I want to book a freaking great guest.
And you did.
We want to aim high.
You did.
Doug Haller's joining us next segment.
Doug Haller.
Why is Doug Haller and I quote, great guest?
And we only have a minute or two before.
Aside from the fact that he's always a great guest.
He's always a great guest.
Specifically today.
So much news with ASU and the story that Doug broke this week that is very similar to the NCAA investigation, those old horror movies. The calls coming from inside the building. So Doug breaks a story that says, guess what? The opponents are saying, if you want to know what's going on, just call one of the assistant coaches. They'll tell you.
Wow.
They'll tell you what the game plan is. Don't worry about it. Loose lips sink ships. It just shows you, whatever else it shows you, it just shows you how dysfunctional things are in Tempe.
We've heard this term for a long time in terms of any NCAA investigation, but institutional control.
Lack of.
Yep. Forget the NCAA. If guys are telling state secrets left and right, that's institutional control on a different level.
And if the FedEx package calling out the recruiting investigations has a return address of football building at ASU, Tempe, Arizona.
That's the actual address too. That's it.
Yeah,
if you send mail there, they'll get it.
And that was the return address that was delivered to the NCAA in Indianapolis.
Real quick for people who don't understand what we're talking about, Doug Haller was the first one to report that Arizona State staffers were reportedly leaking information to help opponents and get Herm Edwards fired.
Boom.
Just had to mention that real quick.
Whoa.
Boom. We'll step aside here. We don't need to tell the story. Let's let Doug Haller do it. Doug Haller of The Athletic joins us next. We'll be right back.
Clear.
Something like Mike Gross alongside what you were here.
I would talk about how great the halftime show was last night. Great.
People who know you know that they weren't there because you were never not.
I would always.
You're in.
Cool.
Back to Take the Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, exclusively on Fox Sports 910.
You're live.
Welcome back. Hanging out with you on a Saturday out here at the CAZ Sports Bar, Casino, Arizona. Follow us on Twitter at Fox 910 Saturday, at Fox 910 Saturday. Live stream. Jackson adding value each and every week. Not only can you listen to us, you can also see us.
Which is sometimes not good.
Yeah, right.
Faces for radio. It's a cliche for a reason.
We live it. So, as promised, we jump out to the phone lines and welcome to the program. Glad you could spend a little bit of time with us here on a Saturday from the Athletic. It's Doug Holler. Doug, it's Mike and Mike. How you doing today?
And Jax.
And Jax.
I'm doing fantastic. How are you guys?
Fantastic, Doug. Now, you and I have been texting back and forth about some other stuff. It's good catching up with you a little bit, but man, you're dropping a bomb on the Athletic earlier this week. It is honestly, it's an honor that you have some time to jump on with us on a busy football Saturday. Forget talking about the Utah game and all that stuff this weekend. Take us through a little bit about your piece on the Athletic about the rise and fall of Herm Edwards and some of the things that a lot of people learned about just a couple days ago.
Yeah, well, it's something that obviously I think if you read it, it's not something that I just sat down to write and reported within the 24 hours after Herm was fired or let go, however you want to term it. You kind of knew, you could kind of see with the way the NCAA investigation was going, the way half the staff had been let go or forced out. You kind of knew that the end was going to come in some form sooner or later. So, I'm not the only reporter in the market or even nationally who has reported on the investigation findings, what may have happened behind the scenes. So just, through, just through the last several weeks, just piecing together a narrative that would kind of sum up Herm's time in Arizona, which people forget. There were some good moments. They beat Michigan State a couple times. Upset Oregon. So there were some highs, and I kind of just wrote a little bit about Herm's personality and how his superpower is kindness and sincerity, and how he's really kind of a celebrity coach. But when things start to go astray, the people I talked to said that maybe he didn't take the time to learn NCAA rules or relied on his staff too much in that regard. I have some, I obtained some documents that supports that from some emails that support that from ASU administrators. And then, of course, he delegated. He wanted to groom Antonio Pierce as his successor, and maybe he gave him, in the eyes of the people that I talked to, he gave him too much freedom. Of course, I'm sure you want to talk about, up near the top of the story, I wrote that, according to someone I had talked to, a coach who works at a school that's on ASU schedule, that, some intel had started to leak on the team from people who was ready for a change within the athletic department. And when I wrote that, I knew it would get some attention. It's gone several different directions, and you guys can ask follow-up questions on that if you want, but several different directions that, I didn't anticipate because people are reading into it and reporting things that I wrote that I didn't. But that's kind of the genesis of the story, from the start to finish. And, and just I think it's an unfortunate time because Herm Edwards is a good man, but, he's in charge and things kind of just went a little sideways on him.
So who was it? Who was the leak? Now, Doug, I'm joking. I know you're not going to say. but
let me say. Okay, go ahead. Ask your question.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say. Okay, I've known for a while. There's been people. I don't know if angry is the right word, Mike. I don't know if upset is the right word. But throughout this whole process, there have been people inside the athletic department who are very interested, I guess, in how this is going down, how this is unfolded, because Michael Crow, as I've reported, as others have reported every year, the school president meets with coaches and administrators and makes it clear, makes sure it's understood that he will not tolerate major rules violations. Now, every program has some sort of violations. It's the nature of the NCAA rule book.
Yep.
There are a million things, and sometimes coaches inadvertently break minor rules. He's not talking about that. He's talking about major rules. And I think you could argue that this applies. So there are a lot of people who have been looking at this to say, like, okay, is there a double standard going on here with Herm Edwards? There's been some coaches who have been fired on the staff, and yet he's coming back for a 5th year. Is that because he's good friends with the athletic director, Ray Anderson? Is it because the investigation hasn't yielded any incriminating evidence against Herm Edwards? But, these conversations have been, people have been wondering about this. So, I was aware that there was some issues building up to this, prior to me having that conversation with the coach. So I just wanted to make sure that, I got that out there as well.
Doug Holler from The Athletic with us. We're talking ASU and the situation there. And, when you look at top flight winning programs year in and year out, you hear the word culture, how it's ingrained and it's part of that. What I would be concerned with as a fan of ASU or an administrator at ASU is culture as well, Doug, because you talk about with the story that you had this week, which obviously speaks to culture. The NCAA investigation, a lot of the material that the NCAA is reviewing and working with comes from inside from within inside the program.
The calls coming from inside the building.
The culture there. This is something that, however this resolves itself, it's going to be really tough to rebuild and regain the trust and rebrand and rebuild culture.
That's an excellent point. Everybody has asked me, like, well, who was it that initially sent the package of information, of screenshots, receipts that started all this? And that was last spring, I believe. A package was sent to the ASU compliance office. And the honest truth to that is I don't know who it was. I know people have been speculating. I don't know who it was. But I think I have, if I had to guess, I could probably put together a pretty strong list of candidates. But, I've always been under the impression that it wasn't just the activity of one person, that there were maybe a couple others involved. And you're right that, a lot of these things happen from competitors on the recruiting trail. Hey, so-and-so's breaking the rule. It's not uncommon. In fact, when ASU baseball got into some trouble a long time ago, that started from a former staffer as well. But when you have multiple staffers involved and multiple staffers that are willing to, talk to media and off the record or whatever, it does kind of signify, okay, like there's some division here. The program model is words and actions, and it's just not lining up. So, I wasn't surprised getting back to that tidbit, and just to go back when I said I wasn't surprised or I knew it would get attention. People have reported that it was coaches on Herm's staff that was leaking information. I don't know that. People were saying that it was just someone on the football staff. I don't know that either. I was just told inside the athletic department, and that's why I worded exactly what I worded, the way I worded it, because that's all I know. I've attempted some follow-ups. ASU has decided not to comment on it at this time, so I went with what I had at that time, and the hardest part of doing any sort of investigative work is figuring out how trustworthy the person is you're talking to. If they have any sort of axe to grind, all these things come into play. And I wouldn't have reported it if I questioned the information, put it that way.
Doug Haller, The Athletic. Doug, I wanted to talk about what is significant about this is the timing. It's a couple days after when Herm Edwards was let go. Sean Aguado is the new interim head coach preparing for a new game. Why do you think this news is coming out now and instead of later in the season?
Well, I mean, it's because, I guess it's because I reported it.
True. Yeah, nailed it.
There was a timing element involved in it, which I can't get into. But, I felt like the best place to put it was just kind of in, after conversations with my editor, that was probably the best place to put it and kind of the wrap up of the Herm era. So we'll see. I don't know where it goes from here. I don't know if it just goes away. Maybe Arizona State knows a little bit about and has already fixed the problem. I don't know. It could have been one person. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just reporting what the coach told me. So we'll see. I think the biggest challenge right now is for the university, especially Sean Aguano, is to find out, we're in week 4. There's still an entire football season. There's still an entire fall. In Arizona, it's just now getting to be under 100 degrees. It's just football season has just really started. So, just because it seems, coaching changes usually happen at the end of the year. This one took place in the first month. So there's a full season to go. Let's see if the university can, or if that football program can kind of shut out everything that annoying reporters like me and others are reporting and just try to find a way to win on the football field.
Doug, I'm going to tell you, I've had the opportunity, the honor to teach at the Cronkite School the last couple of years. I wish I was one of your students learning from you with great investigative journalism work like this. This piece alone on Herm Edwards, the rise and fall, is worth every penny of a subscription to The Athletic. Go online, theathletic.com. Follow Doug Haller at Doug Haller on Twitter. And Doug, my final question before we let you go today is, where does a embattled university, a program on the ropes at many times, go from here with their hire? Can they get a great hire at a place that maybe has sanctions and still has dark clouds looming over the program in terms of what the Sun Devils, what Ray Anderson, if he's even the one making the call here, what do they do next in Tempe?
Well, you're right, Mike. There are some limitations to the job profile, right? You're in the midst of an NCAA investigation. It's not even over. So the people that you're going to be contacting, there's going to be a big question mark as far as that goes. Like, what's next? So that's a hurdle, obviously. However, I was talking to another an industry source, I guess you could say, about this very topic. About the attractiveness of Arizona State in its current state, and he said that it's still a good job. It has great facilities. It has great weather. It's at a school that, it may not have the administrative support or the financial support of like an SEC school, but you can still win here. So it really just depends on them picking the right guy. And in my opinion, I think Arizona State would be best suited to get someone who's young, who can grow with the program, so everyone's kind of patient through whatever might come out of the NCAA investigation. But you never know. I mean, Ray Anderson, I don't know how, that's another factor. I don't know how much he'll be involved in the search, but, he's pretty connected in the NFL especially. So, but the way he talked in his press conference the day after getting that Herm left, it sounded like that he was thinking that ASU needed someone young, someone well-versed in the NIL landscape. And, because he did point out, when he hired Herm, college football changed. 2 years later, it was not the same sport. And maybe, Herm was not the best person to kind of usher Arizona State into this new era. But I think their best bet was probably someone young who kind of grows the program.
Doug Haller from The Athletic. Excellent stuff, and 100% agree with Bauer. Pay for the subscription, read this fascinating reporting, and we really appreciate you spending a few minutes with here on a Saturday morning.
I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.
Doug Haller covers all of Arizona for The Athletic, but guess where his attention is focused. A lot to unpack there. We're going to step aside. When we come back, let's jump into a little bit of this. ASU's got a game today, and we'll talk about what the ramifications that might be, what the number is on that game. We'll talk about it next right here on Fox Sports 910.
Back to Take the Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, exclusively on Fox Sports 910.
Thanks again to Doug Haller. Appreciate him joining us and talking ASU football. So much to get to in Doug's reporting. And as I said, they've got a game. They've got a game tonight.
Whatever, they're going to lose. Great, no big deal. Like
Utah's in town.
We got bigger fish to fry than
I made the comment a couple of weeks ago, and apparently, what the hell do I know? I said something to the effect when they were getting ready to play NAU. Good thing for Herm, good thing for Herm's staff, good thing for the kids on the program. They're getting ready to play football. They got a football game. They're going to be on the field in Tempe. Put all this other stuff beside them, right? It's going to linger. People will ask questions, but at least as a program, you can focus on the games at hand. And clearly, I don't know what I'm talking about. I have no idea what the heck I'm talking about, because if possible, it goes from bad to worse. It does. And, I am not an ASU fan, but I've lived here for almost 30 years, and so I follow. I'm interested.
How do we fix that? How do we get you to be an ASU fan? Come on, I'm a Sun Devil. Let's go.
You heard when
you're too much of a journalist.
No.
Come on, go Devils.
I'm a Michigan fan, and
I'm just.
Fortunately, every time I look at it, it's on a commercial, so I don't get distracted here. Point being, guys, there's it's just so bad. And in case you're wondering, Buffalo is beating Eastern Michigan right now. So just to rub salt in that wound. But that look on Saturday night was so bad. How does a running back from Eastern Michigan gash you for 248 yards? I think
you look silly. Let's put it this way. Last week when we made our picks on this show, did we make a pick in that game? We did not. We did not pick that game because we all looked at it and said, that's not an interesting enough game for our listeners for us to break down, because ASU should win by 3 touchdowns. And we had Michigan State. We put Michigan State, Washington in that spot instead of serving the local audience and picking the game. We said, hey, let's do the U of A game. All right, that'll be interesting. North Dakota State coming to town. Let's do that game. We'll do the Cardinals game in Vegas, and the third game. Should we do the Sun Devils? Nah. Let's do another game that's more interesting, because that one's not. And I guarantee that had we picked it, we all would have picked ASU. Maybe we would have taken the points. It was 20.5 last week. It was right there around 3 touchdowns. But I think we all would have taken a look and gone, this isn't going to be an interesting game. And
pass.
Well, damn if it wasn't the exact opposite. Yeah. One of the most interesting games, and not in a good way, one of the most depressing losses in the last 25 years for the Sun Devils.
Yep.
I mean, that's up there. At least the UNLV game, which is a huge disappointment from a few years ago, at least they went to overtime.
Yeah.
At least you didn't have the coach, what, fired, resigned, mutual parting of ways. What is that? What is it? A conscious uncoupling? Whatever happened.
I just looked at the box score for Eastern Michigan and Buffalo. Samson Evans.
Great. Why?
Samson Evans only has 52 yards because he's so tired from last Saturday night.
He's still got all the lactic acid build up in his quads. He can't run. He's tired. He's exhausted.
And I guess the question is now, guys, where do you go from here? How do you rebound? How do you recover? And look, we all want the program to do well. We want Sean Aguano to have success, because if he has success, that means this program is doing well. And look, it's a lot easier wouldn't we rather be talking about a 3-1 Sun Devils team and how they're overcoming the adversity? Maybe they're going to get a bull bid with everything that's hanging over their head. Much rather have that conversation. But, unfortunately, you play the hand that you're dealt. But we want Sean Aguano to have success, but we're going to do our picks later. As I said, they're 15.5-point underdogs on their home field tonight against Utah.
I think if you're a new coach looking at the possibility of going to ASU, I think you're not comfortable going into this situation without a clear sweep of everyone in the department. I think that's the only way that you can get an Urban Meyer, you can get someone that can change around the program, is just a clear sweep of this ASU program, because we don't know right now, but hopefully in the meantime we'll know who leaked the information, but also who knew about it, because they're just as guilty as the people who leaked it.
They all got to go. The saying, when you buy a house, you tear it down to the studs, and you're 100% right. And there are too many. I appreciate and respect Doug Holler's reporting, right? He has much more dialed in, many more connections than I have. But this is a tough sell if you're an established head coach somewhere. I understand that ASU is a good job. I understand that Phoenix and Tempe are a great place to live and raise a family.
I wrote it down on a piece of paper when we were talking to Doug. What are the 2 words I wrote down?
We always hear the term, it's a sleeping giant.
Yeah.
Like, how can you not have success?
How can you not recruit to Tempe? Come on now.
There are too many questions hanging over the head. Like, is Ray Anderson going to be there if he is involved in the hiring? What's going to be the sanctions that come down from the NCAA? So many things that you're going to have to deal with. It was one of the worst recruiting classes in the history of the university last year.
Yep.
Next year will be worse with the uncertainty.
Well, and the uncertainty is now compounded because you're hiring a coach. What kind of coach are you going to hire with all these clouds hanging over the program? Because here's the thing: if you're a coach right now, is this a job you want to take? I mean, think about the other jobs that are out there. Hey, at least with Nebraska, which has fallen on hard times, but they've got a great fan base, a very dedicated fan base, and they don't have a potential postseason ban coming up with Nebraska. With other coaching positions that open up, with other positions that come out there, you don't have the specter of NCAA sanctions looming over the program.
Right.
So what kind of hire not just will, but can the Sun Devils make? Let's say that whatever names you put out there, let's say Matt Rule gets fired in Carolina.
Right.
Is he coming here? I mean, he's already fixed a couple programs in Temple and Baylor. I mean, man, he was doing yeoman's work.
Sure.
They're in Waco, Texas with that. But if he's out, does he come here? Or is he too good for this job? Because there's sanctions. There's, aside from the fact that the cupboards are bare talent-wise, you might be stepping into a job that you can't even play in a bowl game for XYZ amount of years.
Or you can't recruit the way you need to recruit. All kinds of different questions. Look, and we'll bring up a list later on in the show, and we'll get and we'll look at the odds, because that's what we do. The odds to be the next head coach. But I think seriously, if you're an ASU fan, you have to check yourself until all this takes care of itself, because the head coach from fill in the blank, from BYU, the head coach from an established university, who has a good gig already, is not going to come here unless you way
Kalani
overpay.
Sitake is a name that's
Right.
out there.
Yeah.
You reference that, that position.
You hear that, you see these names, and in a vacuum, sure, he's a great guy, a great coach. He's doing wonderful things at BYU, but that doesn't mean he's going to drop all of that and come to Tempe for what's happening here. I see the name Troy Calhoun every time there's an opening west of the Mississippi. Google Troy Calhoun, Kevin Sumlin, Arizona. He was in that conversation. Troy Calhoun's not leaving Air Force to come here. He's not. So you have to check yourself, and I think you have to just hope that this NCAA thing just drop the hammer, whatever it is. And I've said this before. We've talked about it. I know you guys talk about it. There are people that says it's going to be a slap on the wrist. Fine. Then take the slap on the wrist. There are other people that suggest it might be a little bit harsher than that. Fine. Whatever it is, you need to know what it is so that you can map your path forward.
Part of me, and I'm just connecting dots.
Yep.
I'm as we say in the South, which I'm not from the South. I'm just supposing,
just spitballing.
But part of me is wondering. Sun Devils win a couple games this year, a couple more games. Do you say, hey, Sean Aguano, stick around so that you can make a better coaching hire 2-3 years from now than you could today? Or not even today, but this offseason. This coaching carousel, do you sit this one out? Because you're going to hire a B coach, maybe a B-plus coach, and then a couple years from now, let's go out and get that A-plus coach.
It's fascinating how this is going to play out, and I can't answer that. Yeah. I don't know if anybody knows.
Like I said, I'm just supposing.
Yeah, think about a caretaker, to your point, for 2 or 3 years, and how your opponents, the teams you recruit against regularly, will kill you with that story.
Right.
But we'll get into it. We've got plenty more to go. Coming up on the other side, though, our first picks of the day.
Let's go.
Ooh. And we're going to buy a TV, and maybe somebody's going to win a TV from us someday. Jeff Hudzo joins us next right here on Fox Sports 910.
Take the points. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports.
I'm going to go get the number here. Or do you have the numbers?
Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar,
5 minutes here.
Casino, Arizona, exclusively on Fox Sports 910.
You're live.
Welcome back in. Final segment of the hour. Appreciate you hanging out with us on a Saturday. And as promised, we jump back to the phones for his weekly visit with us from Best Deals in Town. It's Jeff Hood. So Jeff, Mike, and Jackson, how are you today?
Boys, I am super excited about the slate of college football. We just need Michigan to score some more points.
There you go. Hey, real quickly before we get into the points, I told you guys this, and nobody believes me at the table here, Jeff. So I'll let you back. I get your emails. Best Deal in Town. And the email, big bold letters, back up the truck. You guys got all kinds of deals this weekend. Real quickly, give us one or two of the highlights before we get into your picks.
Oh, we got some 70-inch Samsungs on special for $499, and if you want to go bigger, 85-inch Samsungs for $999.
Oh my goodness! 80 inches for under $1,000 at Best Deal in Town, Best Deal AZ on the Twitter machine as well. And as Grosser says, you can get on there, get on the newsletter, and you get the special sent right to your.
Get an email every week. I get an email
with great deals, just like that. Hey, speaking of great, that's not what happened to Jeff Hoodzal last week with his picks. Unfortunately, he went 0-3. But here's the good news: if you call in 602-260-9191 after Jeff makes his picks, you get your picks. If you beat him, you get a $50 gift card this week for Best Deal in Town, Best Deal AZ. You get that $50 gift card for you. And then here's the best deal: is every single week, everybody who gets in is entered to win a 75-inch 4K smart TV from Best Deal in Town, 235 East Baseline Road in Tempe, southwest corner of College and Baseline, bestdealaz.com. That said, Hoodzal, we got 3 picks. Let's start off. U of A at Cal. The Bears are -3 against the 2-1 Wildcats. Who you got in that one in Berkeley?
You know, I liked Cal last week against Notre Dame. They kept it close. And as someone who bleeds in maroon and gold, it pains me to say I don't need the points. I don't want the points, but I'm going to take the points. I think U of A is going to win. I think they're going to win straight up 27-23.
27-23. All right, you're off the board right there for U of A. What a great Sun Devil pick going with U of A. Speaking of the Sun Devils, we don't know what the hell's going on in Tempe in terms of the coaching situation and the future of the program, but let's look to tonight. Utah coming to town. They're getting a couple touchdowns, they're laying a couple touchdowns. ASU plus 15.5. Jeff, who you going with? The Utes at ASU.
I absolutely love Utah in this game. So I've been wrong with pretty much every pick I have had this year. So let's go. Utah's going to win by 30. How about that?
Wow.
Let's get on the Tavion Thomas train. He's going to run for about 900 yards. Utah's going to win by 30. Hopefully I'm wrong, and somebody gets $50 on me.
There you go. That's right. 602-260-9191. Get in and make your picks after Jeff makes his final pick. Rams at Cardinals. 3.5 points going to the home team. The Cardinals getting 3.5 at home.
You know, if I was smart with sports betting, I would tell you that divisional home dogs cover 80% of the time, or something like that. I would just make it up. Rams are going to win by somewhere between 40 and 50 points. So I'm going to take the Rams minus 3.5 and the over.
And the over, yeah, because if they're going to win by 40 or 50, they're definitely going to hit that 48.5 number. Jeff, thanks so much for making your picks. And now it's our listeners' turn. 602-260-9191. Call in right now. Give Richie your 3 picks. If you beat Hoodza, which once again last week, damn easy. He went 0-3. You get a $50 gift card, and you get entered to win that 75-inch 4K smart TV from the best deal in town.
Check out Jeff's website, bestdealaz.com.
There you go.
Let's go about do it for our opening hour. We've covered a lot of territory. Still more to come. Marco D'Angelo of wagertalk.com. He joins us coming up at the bottom of the hour. He'll pick a couple of games and get into what's going on with him at Wager Talk. Major League Baseball's on tap. I was over at the big board over at the sports book here at the CAZ Sports Bar, and we always go in and we pick up the NFL sheet.
Yep.
We pick up the college football sheet. Yep. But I grabbed the futures for the outright winner for World Series futures, and they're updating it regularly. Guess what?
30.
Dodgers Astros are the favorites. Are you surprised?
Let's go Stros. Yeah. Huge Astros fan.
Let's go.
Guess what?
I'd bang on a garbage can just to support them.
Diamondbacks eliminated.
Yeah, mathematically out of it, but still emotionally in it. Can play some spoilers.
He's Mike Bauer, Jackson Groff. I'm Mike Gross. Hour number 1 is in the book. Stick with us. Come on out and see us. We're at the CAZ Sports Bar. We'll be here till 1 o'clock. We'll be right back on Fox Sports 910.
Right now, that's the least important. The Diamondbacks have been how is that possible? The Diamondbacks, somebody was like, the Dodgers payroll is number 2.
Up there. But and the TVs, the setup, but it's the menu. It's the menu that keeps us coming back, Bauer. You were running a little late today. Jackson and I enjoyed, again, the breakfast Sammy.
It's
So fire.
So good. So good.
It's a good sandwich.
And and I tell myself every week, I'm going to have something different. And then the help here is amazing. She comes up, she's like, hey, what can I get you guys? Breakfast sandwich. 3 minutes later, we had 2 breakfast sandwiches sitting on the table.
Nailed it.
Waiting for you to get here. You and I, a couple weeks ago, you told me, hey, have you had the homemade pizza rolls?
Dude, they're so good.
They're egg rolls is what they are, and they are so good. The menu is so good. So if you don't have any other reason to come on out, check out the menu. Great drink specials and Monday Night Football right here. Rockin' Minutes with Jimmy B. You get to see Jackson Monday nights here from the CAZ Sports Bar at Casino, Arizona. Our home every Saturday throughout the course of this football season. All right, before the break, we were talking about ASU football, and like everything, you can bet on that. There are odds. Who will be the next head coach of the Sun Devils? And our intrepid associate, Jackson Groff, while we were talking, and I was asking him for something he didn't have in front of him at the time. He pulled up the list of who might be the next head coach of the Arizona State Sun Devils. Jackson, what did you find?
Yeah, so this is according to BetArizona.com is where the odds are. I'm going to list some other names that didn't make the list on BetArizona.com. Deion Sanders did not make the list.
No, Coach Prime. Hashtag Coach Prime.
I saw that.
Cliff Kingsbury was mentioned by DraftKings. Didn't make the list.
I immediately tweeted that out there not immediately, but on Sunday when the Cardinals were getting waxed in the beginning of that game before the comeback.
And then everybody deleted it after they won.
Yeah, I said Cliff Kingsbury, maybe the next head coach for ASU.
And I'm going to say something very, very serious right now. And is this job for Deion Sanders better than the job he has right now?
No.
Oh,
it's not.
That is a loaded question.
For Deion Sanders, the Jackson State job is better than the job he would take over here at ASU.
I don't want to answer that question
because you know what the answer is.
Yeah.
His kids left big-time programs to play for him at Jackson State.
He's nailing recruits. He's getting 5-star guys,
the
4-star
media
guys.
attention, Barstool Sports.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
He would be so good here, though.
But anyways.
Yeah.
So the odds-on favorite at plus 250 is Mike Norvell, Florida State head coach.
Terrible bet. Are you kidding me? There's zero chance. There's zero. That's the odds favorite.
That's the odds. I'll keep going.
Ridiculous.
I'll keep going.
That is a waste of your money on fire, Mike Norvell.
Next at 300 is Jamie Caldwell, Coastal Carolina head coach. Okay. Then at 400 is Kalani Satake, the BYU head coach.
No.
And then I like this one, Lance LaPod, the head coach of Kansas University. They're on fire right now. He might be something special. I didn't see this until just now. My own head coach, Bobby Houck, is plus 4,900 at Montana on this list. You cannot make that up, folks. There's no way he will leave. All right, so I can exclusively report that he will not be leaving Montana. I'll call BetArizona.com to take it off the list.
Insiders are reporting. Insiders are reporting. But in all seriousness, Coach calls you right now and says, Jackson, you were with my program. You're a good kid. I trust you. You're from the area. ASU called me. Should I take that job? What would you tell him?
Coach Bobby Houck, stay at Montana. I have sources. Stay at Montana. There's tradition there. Everyone loves him at Montana. You come here at ASU, you're not going to change the organization. You're not going to change the program. You try to do it at UNLV, and it didn't work. Stay at Montana. But Urban Meyer, plus 9,900 on BetArizona.com.
Okay, I've seen some odds from this website that we keep talking about. Down at the bottom, I believe there's a disclaimer that says these are not actual bettable odds. I believe there's something like that. Like it's not an actual.
You mean I can't take
gambling
my money?
Website? You can't. It's
on AZ Central. I thought it was.
Well, I'm just saying that
it's a conversation.
It
starter.
is.
Yeah,
it's a conversation.
It is a conversation.
But
starter,
here's the thing.
Because there's Mike Norvell is not leaving Florida State. They're 3-0, by the way. He's not leaving Florida State to come back to Arizona State, a place that, to be quite honest, he probably should have gotten. He should have been, but it should have been the coach in waiting. He was the deputy head coach.
Well,
remember that, the deputy head coach.
Here's the thing:
the ridiculous title under Todd Graham.
Here's the thing, and Cliff Kingsbury, he was on the list until they won the game. Then he was off the list, right?
Right.
But here's, in all seriousness, when you look at a list, whether it's bettable or not, this is a legitimate question that ASU's got to consider, right? And I think you have to set the proper expectations when you are dealing with your alumni and your fan base and the people that are going to actually have to help you pay for whatever decision you make, right? Because it's a money call at this point. A lot of the names at the top of the list, even if you want them, you can't afford them with what's going on right now. Even if they would leave BYU, even if they would leave Florida State, even if they would leave fill in the blank big established program. I love the idea of guys like Coastal Carolina. I love the idea of coordinators at some of these top programs that come in here with reasonable expectations at a reasonable price that will be able to shepherd this program through the next 3 to 5 years, which is going to be a challenging period of time for this program. And I hate the idea of Sean Aguano as a caretaker head coach. I hate that idea. I don't hate the idea of Sean Aguano.
You don't like the Russ Pennell comparison, and those of you who are college basketball fans, you know the Russ Pennell story, that he was a caretaker of the program there in Arizona after Lute Olson.
No chance to get the job permanently. He just took care of it after. No, I do not like that. And so you need to set reasonable expectations based on what you said on that list. Coastal Carolina, perfect. I mean, I don't know about him specifically. I don't know his background. That type of school, that type of coach, or coordinators at big successful programs.
What are your guys' thoughts? I mean, we've seen all these Alabama assistants year after year move on to a head coaching job and do well there.
Yep.
What about Bill O'Brien? I mean, he doesn't give you that attractive factor, I guess, like a Lane Kiffin. He doesn't give you that swag, but
bring him back to the Valley. He can hang out with DeAndre Hopkins again since he traded him for absolutely nothing.
Exactly. But Bill O'Brien could be someone that, hey, he could be a good coach at ASU. Maybe give him a shot. He's done well at Alabama the last couple of years as an assistant, the offense coordinator there.
Bill O'Brien is a if you're a Texans fan, you're going to definitely disagree with this. Bill O'Brien's a good football coach.
He's not a good GM.
He's the terrible general manager. You have to kind of be a general manager as a head coach in college, though, but it's a lot different. You aren't trading guys. Yeah. You're out there recruiting. Bill O'Brien had the unenviable task of taking over after Joe Paterno in Happy Valley, and I mean that's an interesting name out there. It's one of those things that I think that he doesn't fit the bill of what it looks like they want to do, which is hire a young up and coming, that hot coordinator, that kind of hire is what it seems like the direction they're going. But also, this just happened 6 days ago.
Yeah. And why did it happen 6 days ago?
You lost to Eastern Michigan.
Update from Ypsilanti. 8:39 left in the fourth quarter. Buffalo 50.
Doubles.
Eastern Michigan 31.
That's a 50 burger on the team that just beat ASU.
Yeah. And as we always do on the show, according to the sheet we got here at Casino, Arizona, Eastern Michigan went off at a 6-point favorite in this game. And whatever else you did relative to this game, hopefully you took the over. Is it 60? They're at 91 right now.
They're tired from running all over ASU last week.
Yeah. Guys, I don't know.
So I'm looking at CBSSports.com. One of my favorite national writers, he does a great job, is Dennis Dodd. Right? He's been with CBS for a long time. I'm just going to throw. I'm not going to give you his insight. I want your guys' immediate reaction. Right? Here's his top candidates. He's not necessarily calling his shot, but he's throwing some names out there. Here's 11 names. Matt Rule, Carolina Panthers coach.
I'd take that.
I like it.
Number 2, Byron Leftwich, the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
If you could afford him, I'd absolutely take that.
He's a young guy, too.
Great offensive mind.
I like it.
Spent his first coaching opportunities were under Bruce Arians with the Arizona Cardinals. It was the guy working on TV right now, because that's the sexy thing to do, is hire guys from ESPN. ASU's done it before. Dan Mullen, ESPN analyst.
I don't.
A lot more recent.
Lukewarm on that one.
I don't like it.
Nope.
Todd Monken, offensive coordinator of Georgia.
Yes.
Yes.
I'd rather have the defensive coordinator from Georgia.
I wonder how old he is.
Yeah.
Todd Monken. I'll look it up.
Todd Monken, number 4 on that list. Hugh Freeze, Head coach of Liberty.
Pass.
He doesn't have any skeletons in his closet at all whatsoever.
Pass.
Hey, a guy with NCAA investigation past coming to a school under NCAA investigation, maybe not the best match. How about Brian Harsin, the coach of Auburn, if he gets run?
No. If you can't turn around Auburn, you cannot turn around this ASU team.
And you talk about a dysfunctional athletic department. The AD already got fired. Just too much going on there. Pass.
West Coast guy, a lot of success at Boise State.
Nope.
All right, here's the name you mentioned earlier, Coach Prime, Jackson State.
Nope.
I would love it, but
he's
most likely not going to happen.
You have to have a list. It's performance based on expectations here, gang, and Dion has no interest.
And
in
his son's
it'd be a step back.
His son's got to come with too. His son's got to be the
it'd be a
quarterback and the starting corner.
Yeah, it'd be a step back.
All right, the list from Dennis Dodd at CBS Sports continues. Tom Herman, another dude on TV. He's at CBS right now. Formerly Ohio State, Houston, Texas.
No.
I don't want to. Don't bring me any TV guys now. Like you said, we've tried that.
Number 9 is Mike Norvell.
You answered your own question.
Not happening.
I think if you pay him big,
no. I'm telling you right now, no. It's just end of story. It's over. How about the head coach in the Pac-12 right now? They're playing Arizona today. Justin Wilcox, the Cal Bears head coach, he's on Dennis Dodd's list.
I think that's an interesting name, and I think that sooner or later, Coach Wilcox has got to be tired of the restrictions and the hamstringing that he gets trying to build a program in Berkeley, and coming down to Tempe might be the freedom and the release that he needs, even if it comes with a rebuilding attached to it.
I like it.
All right, you guys already said no, you don't want a TV guy. Dennis Dodd's final guy on the list is a friend of the program. He's an institution in Tempe. His family, he spent time there, played his high school ball there. Rick Neuheisel.
No. How long has he been away from the game?
Yeah, just a little while. He's coached. I mean, he needs to coach at every school in the Pac-12. Come on now. Dennis Erickson tried.
No.
I think he's doing great things on TV. He needs to stay there. Great things on radio. He needs to stay there. I think not a lot of people know who he is at this point.
What?
So at least in my era, my era,
my generation. Yeah. No. Hard pass.
All right. There's the list from Dennis Dodd.
Yeah. Thank you. You know who's better at covering ASU football than Dennis Dodd? Pete Prisco.
Oh yeah, Pete's great. Go Devils. He's a Sun Devil, and he's an NFL guy. Come on now.
No, but his tweets, just middle of the night tweets, because he's on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Whether they're winning or they're losing, they're gold. They are just no matter what happens at the ASU game tonight. Do yourself a favor.
Yeah.
Watch Pete Prisco's feed. He won't do a lot. He doesn't do running. He will throw out 2 or 3 gems regardless of what happens.
And generally speaking, it's something like, if we're going to cheat, we should at least be winning. There's something like that from Pete Prisco.
They are from the heart. They're so good.
He's a diehard maroon and gold Sun Devil. Pete, great NFL reporter. Every time he's on podcast, TV, and all that stuff, he's got a couple Sun Devil helmets right behind him on TV. We're going
to step aside here on the other side. We'll check the scoreboard. That's coming up next on Fox Sports 910.
Clear.
Sports 910.
Coming up in 10 minutes, Marco D'Angelo of WagerTalk.com joins us. We'll break down a couple games with him. Marco on fire last week. Look forward to his visit. We got a short segment here, guys. Let's do this. Let's jump into the scoreboard. We haven't done that yet today. And Jackson, you and I talked before the show went off, or maybe right when we went on the air. Michigan is playing Maryland from Ann Arbor, by far and away the most challenging opponent on the Wolverines' schedule to date. They are done with Hawaii, they are done with Colorado State, and they are done with UConn. Michigan about ready to close out.
So this is like the season opener.
You can breathe now. Gross.
I can breathe now.
You can breathe.
Maryland, the Fighting Turtles, are trailing the Wolverines 34-19.
I believe it's Terrapins.
In that one. Michigan was a 17-point favorite, though, in that game. So if you took Maryland the points, I think you're okay.
Hey, how about Wake Forest right now? Tied with Clemson, driving right now with 2:55 left on their own 43-yard line. Upset alert.
Clemson went off as a 7-point favorite in that one. Wake Forest with the ball, 2:55 to go. And the other thing on that one, if you took the over, my goodness, 38-38. That one went at 55.5.
Yeah, so that's a dead over.
Penn State just closed out. Which Michigan were they playing?
They were playing the Central Michigan Chippewas.
There you go. I always get my Michigan programs mixed up. 33-14 was the win there for Penn State.
That's not the Michigan team that beat ASU last week.
We'll check that score. We'll check that score in a minute. Baylor went to Ames, Iowa, and beat Iowa State 31-24. And Georgia beat Kent State 39-22. But, Jackson, you made a great point about that game. Georgia wins. They're undefeated. I won't say they won comfortably, but Kent State, the Flashes, right? They go into Athens, and they score 22 points. That, to me, is the story of the day so far.
Yeah, that's impressive. Honestly, when you looked at Georgia the first couple of weeks, especially against Oregon, you didn't see a whole lot of weaknesses. You didn't see them slacking off, allowing too many points defensively. They got Nolan Smith, stud outside linebacker who should be picked in the top 5 this year in the draft. They got Keely Ringo, who's a Saguaro kid at corner. But I think today was a test showing everyone that Georgia is human and that they'll allow some points, and maybe they got some flaws that we didn't realize until today.
I just had a thought while you were talking, Jackson.
Ooh, okay.
You mentioned Keely Ringo.
Okay.
How'd you like Keely Ringo in the backfield, defensive backfield, next to Byron Murphy Jr.?
Ooh, I wouldn't mind.
For God's sakes, Steve Keim, if you're listening, if you're driving around right now listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Keim, sir.
We don't need another tight end with the first pick.
No.
We don't need.
I mean, well, the one you just picked hasn't played yet.
We need. Yeah, he hasn't been eating his bananas. He's got a calf issue. We need defensive help.
Or Bijan Robinson.
No. I saw some CBS Sports did a mock draft, and they had Bijan Robinson coming here. We don't need a running back. We need defensive help, and if it can be somebody like Keely Ringo, partnering him up with Byron Murphy Jr., Winner, winner. I love it.
Both Saguaro kids, too.
Absolutely. Real quickly, 4:35 left to go from Ypsilanti, Michigan, Eastern Michigan with the ball. 50-31, Buffalo leads Eastern Michigan.
Please don't, but I'm going to ask you this anyway. Why are we paying attention to that crappy, uninteresting football game, Mike Rose?
He's been talking about it all.
Yeah, all game. Why are you talking about that crappy game that nobody cares about?
Well, we just talk about games of interest here locally. Eastern Michigan was a 6-point favorite in that one, and the over-under going off at 60. Buffalo almost has that. Buffalo, by the way, looking for their first win of the year.
So that's Buffalo beating the hell out of the Eastern Michigan team that just beat ASU.
Is that it?
I think that's why we're. Man, I'm just sad now.
That's why I did it.
Yeah, you bastard.
Question for you guys. We always talk college football, obviously, because college football is on right now, and we'll make our picks later about the Cardinals game. But when you guys look at the NFL games going on tomorrow, there's 9 home underdogs. There's a lot of good matchups tomorrow. What matchup, based on the spread, do you guys like betting-wise for tomorrow? I'll let you guys look at the list. I know this is kind of the last minute impromptu.
One of the more impressive games last week was last week was all the comebacks, right? You had these incredible comebacks. The Cardinals were part of that comeback story, but you had both the Jets and the Dolphins with huge comebacks. They're both home dogs. But I don't like their chances either one of those. The Jets hosting the Bengals, the Dolphins hosting the Bills. I like the Dolphins as a football team, not in this conference matchup against an absolute wagon in the Buffalo Bills. And Patriots are home dogs against the Ravens. I don't like that either. I like the Ravens on the road.
A home underdog that I have a serious question about is the Broncos.
Yeah,
like, this was a team that was supposed to contend. Like
Russ,
the best division in all the land.
Hey, but you got Gucci Garop coming in. Jimmy G, baby.
God, what a fascinating story that is. I wish we were doing sports talk radio in the Bay Area. That is so good. Hey, we got to step aside here real quick in just a second, but we want to remind you, AZTV Channel 7 is your new home for college football here in Arizona, featuring schools that have produced some of the best athletes, great football, high-energy halftime bands, and coverage you won't find on any other station. Tune in today for kickoff. That's college football on AZTV Channel 7. We're going to step aside here, come back on the other side. We look forward to our weekly visit with our good friend Marco D'Angelo. We're all going to put our oven mitts on because he was on fire last week.
Oh, that's
going to put him on. Yeah, get it? Yeah,
I get it.
Clever. Yeah.
Marco D'Angelo, wagertalk.com, joins us next right here on Fox Sports 910.
Stay away from. Take the Points, powered by CAZ Sports Bar's resident handicapper. Marco D'Angelo of WagerTalk.com joins us now on Fox Sports 10.
This is the part of the show where we bring our guest on and tell him what a great job he did last Saturday for our listeners. He killed it every which way he could. He's Marco D'Angelo of WagerTalk.com, and he joins us now. Marco, welcome back. You had a wonderful weekend for our listeners last week.
Yeah, it turned out good. It didn't look good at halftime of the.
Yeah, it was. It was not a good look. You're right, at halftime, and you know the other thing that makes this so fascinating, and we talk about why it's so interesting. You know, even that over at 51.5. I figured it was going to be a field goal by the Raiders to seal that win, and it was a scoop and score that pushed it to 52 on the very last play of the game. Have to stick with it all the way to the bitter end, or I guess not so bitter if you're a Cardinals fan, Marco.
No, definitely. What a crazy game that was, and I don't know about you, but I'm still winded from watching the 2-point conversion.
My goodness.
I think he ran 85 yards on that first one. The second one, that throw through like 85 defenders. Incredible from Kyler Murray.
Yeah. The Cardinals needed that one in a tough blow for the Raiders. But we look ahead, Marco, and we've got games on the docket this weekend. We send you two, and you break them down for us. And the first one we wanted to look at, kind of interesting. I can't remember the last time we talked about an Arizona Wildcats team with a winning record at any point in the season, but the Wildcats head to Berkeley at 2-1. They are a 3-point underdog, according to what we saw here at the Sportsbook, against the Bears. What's your take on this game today in Berkeley?
Yeah, +3 on Arizona. We're actually seeing a couple 3.5s here. You guys are getting a little bit of the home bias with Arizona being at 3, but I'm still going to like Arizona here. You look at Arizona, they're coming into this game, as you said, 2-1. They went on the road, first game of the season, and beat San Diego State. Now, San Diego State is down from what they've been in the past, but it was their opening of their new stadium, so you thought there would be some buzz there, and maybe San Diego State would have put up a better fight, but they did. Good game for Arizona. Then they got waxed by Mississippi State in week 2. And then everybody thinks, well, this is the same old Arizona team. But to be honest with you, this Mississippi State team's pretty good. And obviously an SEC team, we know how good that conference is. And this is a Mississippi State team that loves to throw the football. In fact, they threw the football in that game 50 times against Arizona. Last week, North Dakota State, if you just go by name, you're going to say, hey, man, they were lucky to win that game. But they were actually the underdog. Arizona was an underdog to North Dakota State. This is a pretty good North Dakota State team. And being sandwiched in between Mississippi State and their conference opener tonight, I thought that was a pretty good performance by Arizona. They had every right to look past North Dakota State in that flat spot. I'm going to take them tonight. This is as much going with Arizona as it is going against California. Not impressed with California at all. They did win big in week 1, 34-13 against Cal Davis. They were supposed to. But in week 2, they were life and death with UNLV running Rebels. Obviously my team here in Vegas, who is playing a lot better than people expected. But this is still a Mountain West team. Now, you could say, hey, they were looking ahead to Notre Dame coming up the following week. Now, it's a distinct possibility. But they went to Notre Dame. They played their guts out. And for these kids, going to Notre Dame, I know this is their conference opener, but that Notre Dame game is a big game. That's, when you're a college football player, you dream of playing it, South Bend. They got that opportunity, and they almost won that game. And they came away with a narrow loss. I think they're going to have a little bit of a hangover effect, and I'm not impressed with this offense. They only put up 20 points against UNLV, and they only put up 17 points against Notre Dame. Arizona, for as bad as they've been in the last several years, they are 6-0 the last 6 meetings against California against the spread. I'm going to call for the mild upset. We're going Arizona 27-23.
Arizona 27-23 on the road. If we're looking at that number, 3.5 points, the Cal is minus 3.5. Let's take a look at that number, at least from what we're seeing here in Arizona. The Arizona Cardinals are at home plus 3.5, same number, but the script is flipped with the Rams coming to town tomorrow. Marco, we already talked about that tremendous comeback victory from the Cardinals last week. The Rams got their first win of the season, 2 1-1 football teams, but the Cardinals home dogs tomorrow at State Farm Stadium. As we're seeing right now, they're getting 3.5 points at home, Marco.
They are, and one of the reasons for that is the Rams have just absolutely dominated Arizona. They're 9-1 against the spread, the Rams, the last 10 meetings against Arizona. And what makes this game tough for the handicap on the surface is both teams came away with wins last week, but they were in different fashion. The Rams had a big lead and then blew it, almost blew it, ended up only winning by 4. Then you've got Arizona, as we talked about already, come back from the grave to win the game against the Raiders. Which one, what do you take away from there? Do you take the momentum with Arizona from the come-from-behind victory, or do you say they spent all their energy in that comeback win and go into overtime, and they played almost the full overtime period because I think there was only like 3 or 4 minutes left in the overtime at the point when they had the scoop and score. I'm going to look to the Rams here. This is a spot for them to get away from home. They opened the season with an ugly performance on Thursday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills. Really no shame in that. If you saw what the Bills come back and did again on Monday Night Football last week, embarrassed the Tennessee team that was a playoff team last year. So, maybe that loss wasn't so bad. Letting Atlanta come in the back door for the cover last week, that leaves a little bit to be desired, but they took their foot off the gas. And I don't think Coach McVay is going to do that this week for 2 reasons. One, it almost burned him last week, and obviously he saw what just happened to the Raiders. You get Matthew Stafford, another game under his belt. He did look a little rusty in game 1. He had the off-season procedure, didn't play in the preseason. We know that, these guys, you can practice all you want, but it's not game speed in practice. So he'll get better as each week goes by. I'm going to take the Rams here. I think they're going to be able to score on this Arizona defense. If you look at Arizona, you take off the rose-colored glasses, we've had 8 quarters of football. 6 of the 8 have been ugly for Arizona so far. The 2 in the second half last week were good. Do they build on that, or do we give some of the credit to the Raiders for taking their foot off the gas? You watch the play calling by the Raiders in that second half. They quit attacking. They were playing not to lose instead of playing to win. You can't do that in the NFL anymore. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take the Rams. I'm going to lay the 3.5. I'm going to call it Rams 31, Arizona 24. And if you want a little extra action, if you add that up, that's 55. That would go over the 48 total.
There we go. He's Marco D'Angelo. The website is wagertalk.com. Follow him on Twitter at Marco in Vegas. And Marco, as we let you go, and we always talk about it, I picked up the updated World Series odds here at the Sportsbook where we are, and I know you guys at Wager Talk, the content is much, much more than just football. And you guys are doing a great job of covering Major League Baseball as they are in the home stretch looking ahead to the postseason, plus all the other sports going on currently.
Yeah, it's a busy time of the year for me. I tell the wife when September rolls along, I'll see her the beginning of April. You can check out our new app. That's the best thing you guys can do. If you want free content every day, we have shows for all of those sports. If you download the Wager Talk TV app, you got everything in the palm of your hand. You can also stream it on your smart TV. Check that out. And, of course, our YouTube channel as well. And my personal favorite show, obviously, is the one that I am involved in each week, Bet On It. We do that every Wednesday night. Yep. It airs. We have a college show and an NFL show where we can go in greater depth detail the way I break the games down for you here on the radio show.
Marco, good stuff as always. And again, one more time, the website, wagertalk.com, and follow Marco on Twitter at Marco in Vegas. Marco, good stuff as always. We'll talk to you next Saturday.
All right, good luck, and let's cash some tickets.
There we go.
Let's go, baby.
Marco D'Angelo, love his visit. Jackson, sure. Yes, I'll answer that. Look, he was on fire last week, and the end of that Cardinals game was so fun. Cardinals got the ball to start the overtime. I'm like, cool, score a touchdown, and you get the over. Because I listened to Marco on that. I said, I'm taking the over. And it was sitting at the over-under was 51.5. It was sitting at 46. And I said, look, I'll take it. And Cardinals didn't score. And I'm like, damn it, the Raiders are going to kick a field goal, and this game's going to be over. We're going to miss it. And that
scoop and score.
That's 6 points.
Let's go.
Took it to 52 points. So
to me, it's oftentimes just astounding at how good Vegas is, at how close they are on the number. Now, granted, there's times that they miss. I mean, we've been talking about that Eastern Michigan Buffalo game where it's, that one now goes final. It's 50-33 or whatever it is. Like, they blew past the over/under, but so many times it comes down to exactly what you were just saying, where, wow, they were a half point away on the number in Vegas or right here at the Casino Arizona Sportsbook, CAZ Sports Bar.
And you heard Al Michaels say that the other night on the Thursday night game. An interesting.
I mean, if you had Amazon, you heard that.
Yeah, an interesting touchdown for those of you that pay attention or something like that.
He's always got his finger on the gambling pulse.
Just a little, just slides it in there without really sliding it in there. So always good stuff from Marco D'Angelo. He joins us every Saturday here on the show. We're going to step aside here because we got some business to take care of on the other side, and we may have a special guest dialing in where we're at it, while we're at it, I should say.
Yeah.
So in order to accommodate all that, we'll step aside here and give Richie an update as to what the heck I'm talking about. We'll come back on the other side for the final segment of today's show right here on Fox Sports.
No, Big Four. Where? That's in North Carolina. Big Forest in Winston-Salem. This is in the Bronx right here. Here we go. Go here, try. Hit a home run and stuff. Oh, wow.
How do you get from Ann Arbor to Columbus? You go south till you smell it, and east till you step in it.
You're in.
And then we'll hit our picks really quick.
Cool. Yep. Even
And then,
Back to Take the Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, exclusively on Fox Sports 910.
Hey, reminder, AZTV Channel 7 is your new home for college football here in Arizona, featuring schools that have produced some of the game's best athletes and great football, high-energy halftime bands, and coverage you won't find on any other station. Tune in for kickoff today at 3 o'clock, Arkansas Pine Bluff and Alcorn State. That's college football on AZTV Channel 7. And I was telling you guys, I grew up in and around the Detroit area, Ann Arbor, Michigan, and when you want to go to Columbus, apparently there's two ways to get there. If you're in Detroit, you go south till you smell it, and then east till you step in it. If we want to go to Columbus, we just pick up the phone and say, hey, Rock, what's going on?
Oh, that's great. Good job, Gross. Whenever you can rip Ohio State, you're going to rip Ohio State.
I'm going to take every shot I can, right? After I have a small window with which to work right now, and I'm going to take it.
Exactly. You don't win very often, but when you do, you might as well have some fun.
Absolutely. Rock.
But, I don't see any Michigan fans here right now, so we're good right now.
Imagine that. Rock is living the dream. Thursday night, he gets to see the Thursday night game. If you had Amazon, you might have had a chance to see him at the game there in Cleveland, and now he's in Columbus.
Yeah.
Big Ten matchup between Wisconsin and Ohio State. And Rock, like we always ask you to do, the games are important, but the scene, the environment, and you always do this for us, particularly when you're in the SEC. But talk about Columbus on game day. Columbus, the first game of the Big Ten season for the Buckeyes.
Well, it starts on Friday night, Gross and Bowery and Jackson. Literally last night on High Street, got that started, which was really cool and a lot of fun. It's a great atmosphere. It's a total college town. And then today, it's a 7:30 kick here local, which, you got to find something to do in the morning. But, so I had to hit Skyline Chili.
Yes.
In Cincinnati, you got to go to the Skyline. So we took care of that, got a three-way. So I got that rolling. It's not that kind of three-way, Jack, but it's really good. Skyline Chili, you can't beat that. And then now we're just getting started. I just was at the Varsity Club. That's the main restaurant bar. I should say restaurant. That's the bar right across from the stadium. And now I'm just at a tailgate and just kind of meeting people and having some fun. Yeah, this is really cool. I can't wait. Going in there, we have some Fiesta Bowl people here doing a big presentation in the second quarter. So I have an opportunity to hang out with them a little bit as well. So, it's awesome. I mean, I haven't been here in 20 years, and there's nothing better than college football, especially in the Big Ten and Big Ten play. Wisconsin, it's interesting. You guys take the points. It's now, 19.5? What does the CAZ Sportsbook have it at right now?
We're actually, I got the piece of paper right here in front of me right here, Rock. I got 19.5. I got 57 is the over-under. If you're looking at the money line, you get value on Wisconsin at like plus 705 right now. So, oftentimes I'm watching College Game Day and Kirk Herbstreit says, guys, I can't make a pick because I'm calling the game. Rock, we don't play by with those rules. You're not calling the game. You're not a journalist. You're there at least a little bit as a fan. Does Ohio State cover that 19.5 against fellow red-jerseyed Big Ten rival Wisconsin?
I took them. I took Ohio State. I took Cleveland on Thursday night. So you got to go with your team if you're there, right? You win or lose. But some other plays today, man. I like Marshall. I like Akron. I like Cal. I got a few games out there. I've been doing a lot of gamble listening to you guys. You guys won me some money last week, so I appreciate that. You guys got to keep doing that. I mean, but yeah, I went with the. I got it at 18, so I bet it on Monday. But the problem is, one thing, guys, you guys didn't know this is, I have DraftKings, okay, but it won't let me bet here.
Right.
So I can't use it. Like, I want to make some bets today. You're screwed because you're out of the state, and that just sucks.
Well, that's
you're at the game and you want to bet like second quarter or something. You can't do it. So I'm glad I got my bets in before I flew out of here.
That's why you call us. I mean, we're literally sitting here at Casino Arizona Sports Bar. You can just pay later. You can pay Jackson on Monday night and Monday Night Football. He'll go to the sports book right now and bet for you.
All right. Well, give me. How about USC? What's USC Oregon State? I think that's the big game in the Pac-12 today.
Well, that's right. I was gonna say too. Ohio's actually legalizing sports betting starting January 1st. So you just missed out there.
Help him today.
But
I'm just saying next year when he's there,
fat lot of good that does.
Rock,
that does mean nothing right now. That's why, Jack, you're not in the promos.
Wow, that's crazy.
Well, based on the conversations Jackson and I have had today, Rock, he may not even be old enough to gamble here at this. USC -5.5, Rock, and the point total in that one 70.5 from Corvallis tonight.
I like USC, guys. I mean, I really do.
Oh, yeah.
I think the real deal, and Lincoln Riley wants to run up the score. The reason why they're pretty high. That's the big
70.5
over-under. So, but yeah. And then what did the spread end up? Because like I said, DraftKings doesn't work out here. What's the spread for Arizona State, Utah?
15.5.
Where are you guys leaning on that one?
Well, we give our picks after we're done with you.
Okay, all right. I won't spoil it.
But I think so far the people that we've talked to, we had Marco, we had Jeff Hoodzo, not a lot of confidence in the Devils tonight at Sun Devil Stadium, Rock.
Man, it's gonna be a tough time. I will tell you guys, that's what everyone's asking me. Out here, who's going to be the next coach?
Right.
I have no idea. I mean, we talked to them back and forth who we think it's going to be, but you just never know with Michael Crow. I just think in Bauer, you're an ASU guy. Mediocrity is okay for basketball and for football there. I mean, they need to make a big splash one of these days if they really want to be a powerhouse. And I don't think they will. I think they're going to consistently – they're going to probably get a young coach and that can connect with these kids, and we'll see. I mean, I'm anxious to see how Sean O'Connor does. I know, Mike, you've worked with him quite a bit when you with the high school, and he's a great guy. Everybody loves him. It'd be interesting if he can – turn this around and they get a couple upsets over the next couple of weeks. Either this week or USC or at home with Washington in 3 weeks. I mean, it'd be great to see that, man. I don't know what Michael Crow and Ray Anderson will have to do if that's the case. You'd have to hire him.
Mike Morocco from the Rock and Manute Show. Rock, I got to ask, the Cardinals play tomorrow. The spread on the Cardinals is +3.5. What do you like in this game, and what do the Cardinals need to do to beat the Rams?
See, Jack, this is strike two on you right now. First of all, I always go against the Cardinals, so I'm taking the Rams.
Okay.
It's what the Rams need to do to beat the Cardinals. So I think I thought last week was a fluke. What happened? I mean, they got dominated by Vegas. I think the same thing's going to happen tomorrow. I hate to say that. I know I'm being, not a really good talk show host in the Phoenix market, but I don't believe in this team. I just don't believe in this team yet. This offensive line, and I just think they're too banged up, and the secondary, I think they're going to go crazy on them tomorrow. And I think it's going to be a long day for Arizona.
You didn't believe in them last week, I'm guessing, and they still won on the road.
I know, and I lost that game. I lost. So it was like, oh, no. And then how about you guys, real quick, about what happened Thursday night, that last score, that affected the over-under.
Yeah.
So that was huge. I mean, people were going crazy. And one thing they do in Cleveland is, we were in like this club level, which is section 200 level. And once it's over, everyone typically leaves, right? And, third quarter, they stop serving. They kept the thing open until 12:30. The concession stands, the bars are open until 12:30 in the stadium.
Wow.
I've never seen anything like that in my life. It was crazy. In Ohio, they know how to cater. They know how to cater to the fans.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, we were talking about that right before you came on. You love listening to Al Michaels. Obviously, you were in the stadium, didn't get to hear him, but that last touchdown, Al Michaels always finds a way to slide it in about that important score, and you know who I'm talking to. Right. So,
yeah,
he loves it. Hey, we're going to do I don't know. You want to hang out with us while we do our picks, or do you want to go back and
No, man. I don't want to No, you guys are good, man. Go
All
ahead. And plus, my solo cup needs something in it. So
He's Mike Morocco, 1 to 4, right here on the station. And Monday night, are you going to get back in
Yeah,
time? for
will
CAZ?
we see you on Monday?
yes, you will. I'll be back tomorrow afternoon.
Okay.
Monday Night Football, the Cowboys and the Giants. CAZ Sports Bar. Get out here, win some of Rock's cash, enjoy the great food and drink specials, and always a good time when Cowboys and Giants are on the TV, and you'll check out Rock. Hey, Rock, thanks for calling in. Safe travels home.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, have a good show. Rest of the show.
Mike Morocco from Columbus, Ohio. All right, guys, we got a few minutes here. Let's power through this. Bauer, you drive this segment. We're going to make our picks.
2 minutes.
Let's do it.
The Bears, Cal at home, -3. Arizona Wildcats on the road. What do you think, guys?
I'm taking the Wildcats +3. I think this is a team that's on a hot streak. I like their quarterback. I like what they're doing offensively, defensively. Give me U of A.
I'm going to stay away from the game itself, but I'm going to agree with Marco. Give me the over on this one. I like the 50 points. I think both teams they exceed that. My take is the over 50 points today.
Are you leaning one way or the other?
Cal.
You're leaning Cal.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to take the points here. I think Arizona wins outright on the road. The team has impressed me so far. Jaden DeLora has an opportunity to go on the road and get a good road win. Speaking of Arizona State football, not Arizona anymore, now ASU. Are we all going to pick Utah, guys? Everybody? Utah?
I'm taking ASU.
Yep.
I'm taking ASU in the
Whoa.
15.5.
If they're going to do it, today is the day they're going to do it. Fast energy, whatever, all the reports you've heard about this. If they can make a positive statement here, maybe we got something. So this is the week I might be buying in. I'm going to take Arizona State in those 15.5 points.
Hey, we're going to go Utah, Jackson.
Yep.
You, me, Jeff Hood's out. He went Utah as well. Another home dog, the Arizona Cardinals, +3.5, guys. The Rams win by a whole bunch for me.
Yeah.
I got Rams minus the 3.5.
I'm right there with you.
I'm going opposite. I'm going Cardinals 3.5. Hey, I had an 0-3 week last week.
Is that just because you were hanging out with Kyler Murray at the Chandler Wolves game last night?
I don't mean to brag, but he might have told me something maybe that you don't know.
Oh, no.
Who knows?
I'm right there with you, Bauer. I'm taking the Rams. I like the over in this one too, guys. 48 seems pretty low, so give me the over. All right, that's going to about do it for us. We are going to wrap things up. But remind you, Monday night football right here from the CAZ Sports Bar. The gang will be out here for Cowboys, Giants, and we'll be back at the CAZ Sports Bar for our show coming up next Saturday. Have a great week.
Thanks for listening to Take the Points, powered by the Sports.
You look to me, I'm like, I don't know.
Thanks, Richie.